Hello, I'm your host Muse, and today we're back with another recipe from the Stardew Valley cookbook series. And today we're making blueberry tart. In the game, you get this recipe from Pierre, and here it makes 8 to 10 servings. Now in this large bowl, we have 1 stick of butter, and we're going to get a 1/4 cup of sugar. Then we're going to use a handheld mixer until on medium speed until it's light and fluffy, which will take about 3 minutes. Now we're going to get 1 egg, and we're going to add just the egg yolk into this bowl and blend it until smooth. Now we're going to add 1 1/3 cup flour, 1/3 cup of yellow finely ground cornmeal, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to mix it together on a low speed until it's combined and gets into a crumbly texture. A quote from Linus: "Few things are more delicious than a dessert made from that first summer blueberry harvest. I'll admit that it's tough to bake on an open fire, so a slice of blueberry tart is an especially rare treat." Now we're going to get 1 1/2 tablespoons of whole milk and mix it in until it starts getting thicker crumbles, and you can squeeze it and it'll hold its shape. So here you can see it kind of looks crumbly, but when you grab it, it still holds its shape pretty well, so it's good. Now we're going to use our hands to mix our dough together, and then you're going to get a 9-inch pie tray or tart tray with a removable bottom. We have a 10-inch one, but it says to have a 9-inch, so we'll see how that goes. And then you're going to want it to be about an 1/8 inch thick. Now we're going to get a fork, and we're just gonna gently poke holes in it all around. And then we're going to put it in the fridge for an hour or overnight if you'd like. Now that our crust is done cooling or chilling, we are going to preheat our oven to 350 and have the rack on the lowest level and put a baking sheet on that. Then we're going to put parchment paper over our crust and get dried beans or rice, or raw beans or rice, and just pour them in there to fill it and to help flatten it out and keep it flat. Now we're going to put our crust in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes until the edges of the crust start to set and get dry. So here we have these fresh picked blueberries that my grandma got for me because she's the best. And we're gonna put them in that large saucepan over there, over medium-high heat. And we're going to add in a splash of water, which is about 2 tablespoons or 1 ounce sized splash. And we're going to have them simmer there for about 8 minutes until they start bursting and their juices come out. And we're going to mix that occasionally and squish the more juicy berries against the sides so that the juices come out. Now we took our crust out of the oven and we moved our blueberries off of the heat. We're going to take off we're going to take out the parchment paper and remove the beans. Then we're going to put that back in the oven for another 15 minutes and rotate it after 8. Now we're going to take our blueberries and put them through the strainer. You're going to use a spoon or something to help smush out all of that juice and scrape it from underneath till only the peels are left. Or the skins. So we put our strainer in a medium bowl so we can use it later. We took our baking sheet out with our pie crust and we're going to let it cool. Then we got a medium saucepan, or we cleaned out that medium saucepan and filled that one up with an inch of water. And now we're boiling that water. And now in this blueberry stuff, we're gonna get a 1/3 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I should know that. I squeezed it. Then 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, or we're using tapioca flour or tapioca starch. You can say either one. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to get 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks and whisk them into this bowl. Then we're going to put all of this over that saucepan and whisk it constantly for 20 minutes until it gets kind of like a thick berry milkshake. We forgot to mention that you should add 1/2 cup of sugar into this, or else it's just going to be a really tart. So here I accidentally forgot the mic, so I'll just do a voiceover. But we finished whisking our tart and we have 5 tablespoons of butter that have been cut into cubes. We're going to put 1 or 2 in and whisk it in until it's all combined, and then just keep adding more until you're done. So if you have anything that has like holes in it as a tray, you can put your bowl on that. And then we're going to get a 1/4 cup of a blueberry preserve and whisk that in. Then once you're done whisking, you're going to put it through that strainer into that smaller bowl again. So for this, we poured it into the strainer, then we just kind of mixed it around with that until it poured out, and just kind of got it until there were only these like little curds and smaller bits. But ours has a little hole in it, so there's like a little bit of the more thicker curds, but it's not gonna even be noticeable. But now we're going to take this and pour it into our crust evenly. And then I'm gonna get this and scoop all that in. Ah, big bowl. Okay. Now we're going to make sure this is evenly distributed all along here. Then, since this is still on that baking sheet, we're going to put all of this into the oven, and then we're going to have it cook for 20 minutes, rotating it after 10. And it's going to still be like a little bit, it's glossy now, but it's going to get matte, and it's still going to be like a little wobbly in the middle, but set on the edges. So we took that out of the oven, and we're going to let it cool on the baking sheet, just at room temperature, for an hour, and then you're going to put it in the fridge for 2 hours and up to overnight. So we'll see you tomorrow. Now it's the next day, and it's time to try this. It's really good. I think that there's like a nice level of sweetness, or it definitely tastes sweet and like sweeter than a normal blueberry, but it's not like an overpowering sweet. You can definitely tell that there's a good balance with it. The crust is like a little bit, like not like super chewy, but not like super crunchy. It's good, but it felt a little dry, which might be on our end, might not be a recipe thing. But it was still super good. I liked how everything mixed in general. I think that the tart, or like the inner bits, were definitely proportioned nicely, and I think that it has a great balance. And now you know how to make blueberry tart from Stardew Valley. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And that's the 4th recipe in the summer section.